Hey Warren, I looked in here in the menu and activated the helicopter programming on this model memory here. And it seems that you can do everything that you can in the PC program. Of course, it'll a little bit more time consuming having to use the stick in the menus to set all your values. But I went ahead and set up a normal mode pitch and throttle curve, and so I'll show that to you real quick. Let me put this in calibration mode. Let's see, I can run you through what's in the helicopter. Of course, I don't know what everything does yet. So I turned the mode on already. So it has, I was telling you, a gyro sensitivity tune mode where you can slave the gain setting, to one of these channels like channel 7, where it's just a slider. And while you're flying, you can bump your gain up or down, your value up or down, and kind of play around with where it's set at. And then you can go back in and set your gyro sensitivities for your flight modes, to whatever you're happy with. And you can turn that on or off, so it doesn't have to be on all the time. And then CCPM, I just picked 3 servo 120 degrees. It's got 3 servo 140. Oops. 3 servo 90, 140, and 120 are your only options there. And let's see, you can do pitch reverse if it's not going in the right direction. Okay, so for normal mode, this is where you get into the switch assignments, which I'm not exactly sure how those work. But here's where you can set the throttle table. So I have it set at global table 1, and then the pitch table is global table 2. Here's where you can set your gyro sensitivity, and it's in percent, so you probably have, like with a heading hold gyro, like a Futaba, you'd have to play around with this number, and I don't know if 50% would equate to where like a GY401 goes from heading hold to rate mode. So you might have to run this at like 72% to kind of get you in the ballpark range for your gain. Haven't really played around with that yet to even know. And let's see, what else do we got in an exit. So let me go to where the tables are. So you got throttle hold mode, stunt mode 1, stunt mode 2, etc. So you can set those up the same as normal, telling it what table you want. Let's see, option. I think it's under options. Tables. Oops. Okay, so here's how many tables you got. You have 2 aircraft specific, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 global tables. So that's quite a few curves you can run, actually. So let's see, what did I say it was? Table 1 was that the pitch curve? Let's see. So you have 11 positions, position 0 through 10. Let's see what I have 0 set at. Okay, 0 is set at 0%. So this is the throttle curve, just a linear throttle curve. Of course, if you had a nitro, if you had a nitro engine, you know, this first percentage might be a little bit higher, you know, for what your idle speed is set at. And then I think this is totally linear. So position 1 is 10%, 20, 30, 40. Position 5 is in the middle, so that's set at 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then position 10 is at 100%. So that would be a linear curve if you had it graphically represented. And then, so I have global table 2 assigned under the normal flight mode as the pitch curve. So let's see what I have it set at here. I have position 0 set, so low stick would be 35%. So that would give you, you know, depending on what your pitch range is, you know, maybe 2 to 4 degrees of negative collective. And then position 5 in the middle, I have set at 50%. So if you, assuming you set your head up to where 50% would be 0 pitch, let's say 0 collective pitch, and then I have it linear from there, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100 for that one. So you could set up with 11 points. I mean, you could set it up, you know, linear, non-linear, however you wanted. With that many, you could almost make it kind of exponential too if you wanted to. So I just wanted to show that to you real quick. And there's all sorts of stuff you can do as far as, you know, what switches you want to have for your flight modes, etc. And something else I ran into, I don't know if you remember, but the ACE MP8K, you have your timer that you can set as a global setting. In other words, it's not specific to every model memory. So if you switch model memories to fly a different airplane, you have to go in and change the timer values, and then I think you can only use the option button to start and stop and reset it. And on the MicroProStar, with the MicroStar software, you can have different timers for each model. So it's model specific, not global. And you can set it up, you know, to use that option switch, or you can activate the throttle as a switch like you can with modern radios. And I do that with like my fun jet. You know, if I flew it wide open all the time, you know, I might get 3 or 4 minutes out of a battery, but I kind of like to glide it around power off occasionally, so I can stretch my flight out to like 7 minutes. So I have my timer on my modern JR radio slave to the throttle at anything below 10% throttle, the timer's not running. Anything above 10%, the countdown timer runs. And you can do the same thing with this. I already tested it out. I set the throttle threshold at 10% and assign the timer to the throttle switch. And anything below that last 10% of the travel there on the throttle slider, the timer's not running, and anything above it, it is. So that's kind of cool. And lot more flexibility in the programming of this radio compared to the regular MicroPro 8000. Although it's still a neat radio, and I think it was kind of ahead of its time with what you could do with it, especially considering the auto trim function is very cool. And there's some different modes added with this MicroStar software where you can run it, you know, kind of like the MicroPro 8000 was, or you can do it in incremental, or what they call a one-shot, where you hit the button once and it just resets your trims to wherever you're holding your sticks at. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility if you want to use the auto trim exclusively. and zero out your your trim authorities on, let's say the rudder trim. If I didn't want this to be able to do anything, you just set the authority to 0 and this lever won't do anything. So once you get your airplane trim with the auto trim, if you accidentally bump this, it's not going to throw you out of trim if you have it disabled. So that's kind of nice. Anyway, I just thought I'd do that and show you that whatever it shows in the PC program, you can actually do it in the radio too. And I think that was probably what your main question was. And if you already have the MicroProStar module in yours, then you should be able to upgrade what version of firmware you're running, which from what I've read, you can't go over, I think it's version 2.0 on the MicroProStar. If you have a MicroStar encoder, I think you can go all the way up to, I think S is the latest one they have. I don't know what it added or what it did, but supposedly you can't use it with the MicroProStar module that uses the ACE encoder. So just thought I'd do this quick video for you, Oren. See ya.